Welcome back. We're still with the Minister of Agriculture. Thank you for joining us once again. Well, still on the universities of agriculture, the challenges that surround them, really, one would ask, since their establishment, what has these universities, have they achieved, you know, even for the country as a whole?
Between 1998 and 1988 and 1992, they were settling down. They were doing a great deal of extension work. Some of them, Ilorin, for instance, has plantations. Umudike set up a palm plantation on 100 hectares. They even set up a palm oil mill, which has gone down, is not functioning as well.
Why do you think so?
Because the support disappeared. Repairs, maintenance, even the enthusiasm within the campuses. Because, I mean, they were now in the wilderness. They'd gone off to a strange habitat where they couldn't operate. It's like taking fish out of water and hoping it can survive if you dangle it in the air. They were not where they should be. Makodi, for instance, yesterday the Vice Chancellor said they were all there from the beginning. They had a great deal of outreach programs, sent young people to the villages to show farmers how to increase their yield. Little things that make the difference. For instance, if you go to Nebraska or to Iowa, the U.S. Midwest, where a lot of grain is grown, they plant maize 6 or 7 inches apart on a ridge, right? So on 1 hectare, they achieve 93 stands of maize, right? Good quality seed, very good fertilization for the soil, and all the scientific practices you can imagine. You come here and give a local farmer 1 hectare to plant. First, he is using seeds which his great-grandfather used and looked good. Now, the more you replant these seeds, the weaker they get. But then he's planting a meter apart. In between, he's battling with weeds, right? So the farmer in the US does 15 tons, 18 tons of maize per hectare. The farmer here is barely going home with 2 tons. So he takes a bank loan, applies it to this farm. The yield is so low, his expenditure so high, that he can't repay the loan. So then banks say, no, we're not lending money to agri. The universities were teaching these things in their communities and spreading. Then when they were moved, the music stopped. And the thing about agri-case is like, you've got to keep practicing. Then it becomes, not to say an addiction, your passion increases by the day. It gives you a new kind of feeling when you get to the farm. I get that feeling. I miss it a lot. So you want to be there with nature, things around you. You live longer, believe you.
Well, you say the cost of processing, the cost of doing, the other things that come with the actual farming itself, really can be high, owing to lack of infrastructure, basically, or even incentives, or, they vary from time to time. So how are you really going to be sure that Nigerians would not suffer for,
Well, some of us have been in practice for a while. We know where the infrastructure deficit can affect profit very badly. Not all areas. If you're a plantation owner, infrastructure problems are not that serious for you, except maybe a road to your farm. Keep the farm clean during the dry season so there's no fire. And then come for your harvest. Of course, you may have problems with villagers poaching your stuff, or even your management not being terribly honest. So you have to be around when the harvesting is going on. If you are in poultry, you need to be present, because it's a more delicate profession. If you are in milk production, for instance, you need to look after these cows and make sure they get well fed. You need to prevent them against diseases. You need to feed them well. They've got to have at least 10 kilograms of paddock, grass a day, probably with some vitamins and molasses and so on. You need to prevent them against pests by hanging insecticide ear tags or using other means to keep tsetse flies and ticks away from them.
But you see, another part of it was, even in secondary schools, farming was very, very, was the in thing rather,
yeah.
So now it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. We're going back to that. After these universities, we're moving now to suggest, we can't force, to boarding schools that have land to practice some form of agriculture. That's the next move. Keep some poultry, grow your own chicken, keep some goats. Do a plantation on the farm. Do your own mangoes and oranges, or bananas, or plantains. Grow your shea butter. Let the school sell and earn some income, if you have the land. Most schools today are no longer boarding schools because they're in the cities, but those in the countryside, why not? So we're moving slowly, restoring, or shall I say, looking expectantly to the past. That's the tragedy of our development. We have to look at the past now to get inspiration for the present and the future, because we forgot the past. When we did well in agric, we exported palm oil, #1 in the world, groundnuts, cocoa. We did sesame seed, gum arabic. All that vanished because we found something else.
Well, very well. We hope this brings something positive for us as Nigerians, in the nearest future. Thank you very much, Minister, for coming on the program.
God bless you. Thank you.